It's Heather, and this is my artifact speech for public speaking. In the United States, there are 797,500 kids abducted each year, either by a family member, a friend, or a stranger. That brings me to my artifact that I'm sharing today, and this is a picture of my best friend Jill and I when we were growing up. I tried to find the poem that she wrote me, but I moved and in the misplace of that I couldn't find it. So I'm going to share the story that I was going to give, but I'm just using the picture today. Jill and I met when we were 5 years old. We lived across the street from each other. We did everything together. We went to school together. We played together every day. We were inseparable and just like sisters. And there's a few memories that I'm going to share today. I remember starting kindergarten. I remember how scared I was the night before. I remember my parents, they were self-employed, so I'd always been with them. Never been to any kind of like preschool or school atmosphere. I'd always been with my mom. I remember being scared the night before, telling her I didn't want to go, and she of course told me I had to. So the next morning when we got to school, I was scared and I was crying, and then I seen Jill there, and so it made everything okay. I told Mom that she could leave, that I was fine. She made that day fine for me. It wasn't bad, and then she made the year great. Another memory that I have is Jill and I always rode our bicycles. That was our favorite thing to do. We would ride from my house to the stop sign at the end of the road. There was a boy that we both thought was cute that lived at the end of the road, and one day in particular when we were 8, we went to go ride our bikes. Jill's top bike had a flat tire, so she decided she was going to walk, and I rode my bike. Well, we were riding our bikes. When we got right next to the stop sign, this little blue car drove by us. He was driving real slow, and this is back whenever the road, it was real country out where we lived at. Nothing had really developed yet, but the car had drove by real slow, made eye contact with both of us girls. I remember this day so well. I mean, everything's just so in my mind, just stuck there. But the guy that was driving was real tall and skinny. His head touched the roof. The other guy was he was real big, and his stomach was touching the dashboard. But the guys had made eye contact with his girls and kept driving. And then we seen them down the road do a 360 in the road and start headed straight toward us. So we turned around to head back home, and we didn't know what was going on, but all of a sudden they turned down the road and started chasing us. We started screaming and was running fast. She was running and I was riding my bike. I remember looking next to me and Jill wasn't there, and because I'd forgotten that she was running. But I looked back and she had a real scared look on her face. So I slowed down to be there with her, so they wouldn't hopefully get both of us. It would be harder for them. I always remember growing up, my mom telling me that if someone tried to kidnap us or steal us when we were riding our bikes, to hold on to the bike, because it was harder for them to get us and the bike into the car. So I slowed down to stay beside Jill. That way it would be harder for them to get me and her in the bicycle. We were running and screaming. We turned into my driveway. I remember seeing my mom sitting at the end of the driveway. She was taking a break. And I remember looking at her and thinking I was never going to see her ever again. And I was scared to death. All of a sudden my mom noticed that we were crying, so she stood up. And when she did, the guys had noticed my mom. So they backed out of the driveway, backed all the way down the road. And that way they couldn't get the license plate number. And my dad got up and tried to go find them, but he couldn't. And luckily, I feel blessed that we weren't one of the many children that are abducted each year and every day. This picture has many memories for me, lots good and many bad. Jill and I, we're still friends today. We don't see each other as much as I would like. We both have family members of our own, or families of our own, so we've kind of doing our own thing now, but we do see each other, you know, once every couple weeks or every month, and we reminisce over the good memories and the ones like this, and we laugh and cry. I just feel really blessed to have had Jill brought into my life. She has been a best friend to me and a shoulder for me to cry on when I needed it, and she's just been everything that I could ask for in a friend. So that was my artifact today, was the picture of my best friend Jill and I. So thank you.